All right, we are good to go. All right, just give me 1 second, guys. Just want to make sure everything's set up here on the stream really quick. Bum, 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 bum. Hey, yeah. Hey, here we go. Here we go. Just give me 1 second, everybody. Just want to make sure that we are good. Hide on, maybe. All right. So while we kind of wait for the music to kind of play in the background, I'll make sure to kind of periodically check on it. I just want to say, what is up, guys? This is, of course, your boy Bernie here on the charge. I know I've been gone for a little bit, but we had to talk about today's game. I had to get on the stream today. I was tired. I was thinking, you know what? Maybe I should go to sleep early, kind of call it a day. But no, I can't. I can't because we witnessed an amazing game today. The Bucks and the Hawks. And to a lot of people, it might just be like, well, it's just the Bucks. The Bucks are going to Bucks. They're always going to capitulate. They're always kind of on the verge of collapsing all the time. Mike Budenholzer's kind of been the same old song and dance. But I don't want to talk about the Bucks today. I want to talk about Trae Young and the ability that he has to this game that I think a lot of people missed out a couple years back when we were watching Trae Young and Luka Doncic, especially in that trade. That was the big trade that really caught everybody's eyes as to, did the Hawks really just trade Luka Doncic for Trae Young? And I can point to a numerous amount of videos that I've made on the charge myself that I can kind of talk about here as we kind of continue it. The only reason why I want to bring it up is because I think for a lot of people, I think that they really need to start paying attention to the Atlanta Hawks and Trae Young and just the team that they've built around them, right? Guys like Kevin Huerter, who went off in that series against the 76ers. We'll talk about Ben Simmons maybe a little bit in the stream. And just kind of my opinions on it. I've kind of gone at Ben Simmons a couple of years now. He's been in the league for 4 years. I've been going at him a little bit just because I know what type of player he can be just due to the jump shot. But again, we'll talk about that a little bit later because I want to talk about the Hawks. The Hawks, I know, aren't the most glamorous franchise, right? They've had a couple people. They've had Dominique Wilkins, and that's really it. I don't think, for the most part, I don't think that they've won a championship, if I'm right. But I do want to bring up some videos that I've made before on my YouTube channel, on the charge. Of course, you guys know it. The reason why I want to bring these up is because these videos are just kind of stuff about... hang on 1 second. Kind of one of the videos that I talked about here is, of course, and this is just an old video that I made, and the title of this video is called, if I can kind of get back to it, it's called Why This NBA Team is Going to Be the New Dynasty of the NBA, the Warriors of the East, made August 26, 2019. The reason why I say that they are going to be the Atlanta Hawks, it's a spoiler alert, if you guys want to watch this video and kind of get my analysis and opinion on, what happened back then, that is what I'm talking about, is the Atlanta Hawks. And the reason why I want to talk about them so much is because I love the way that this team is constructed. You look at some of the ways. Oh, what's up? What's up, Justin? I remember I'm not sure if I can stream tomorrow at the 9 o'clock. I told my boy Pete I have a basketball camp to work, so unfortunately I won't be there. But I really want to look at this Atlanta Hawks team and just look at the way that they're structured and other things like that. But he said, "What's up, bro? PG cost me money last night. What a chump." JK, but yeah, every time I bet Chris Middleton plus 20, he never comes through for me. That's kind of the life of betting, man. Sometimes you get what they do, and sometimes you don't, and that's why I don't usually do sports betting, because I'm terrible at it. Even though I know I'm pretty knowledgeable, not to be like toot my own horn, but it's just sometimes I'm like, I don't really know if this is going to happen or not. So, but to kind of get back into what I was talking about here, we look at the way that this team is constructed, even 2 years back, right? You still had John Collins, who was a young player. You had Clint Capella, who just came into the fray. Trae Young, obviously the young point guard that they drafted. Kevin Huerter, another guy that they got in that draft. We haven't even seen the full impact of Cam Reddish yet. The thing that really sucks about it is that they didn't really get, Cam Reddish into the fold. DeAndre Hunter's hurt, so he's not going to be there for the playoffs. But what really amazes me about this team, yes, Trae Young shot 34 shots, but the role players around him are playing so well together. They know their role. They know exactly what to do. And John Collins today had to take a little bit of the, I would say, the blunt of the offense, because Bogdanovich is hurt, and you can see that it's really still affecting him. And I know, I've been talking to my boy Pete and also my friend Josh, who's a huge Atlanta Hawks fan. He's been there through the thick and thins, through the good times and the bad. But hey, babe, how you doing? But it's just kind of one of those things. You look at this team, you look at the way that's constructed, and you love the way that it is. We go back to, again, Bogdanovich really hurt, not really playing that well, but John Collins taking the blunt of the force, getting you 23 points and really making an impact. And Clint Capella is the same way, man. I would say that this team is constructed in such an awesome way. We talked about Kevin Huerter and whatnot, and it's just awesome. Guy gets to see. Hey, good night, Justin. Hopefully you get the stream a little bit later, and I'll stream tomorrow. I'm not sure what time, just because I got camps and basketball practice, so I'll let you know when I will go live tomorrow. But we talk about this, and I talked about Trae Young, and we talked about why this NBA team is going to be the number one team. Like I talked about this because I know for a fact that Trae Young is such an amazing player. And you got so many people here, Atlanta Hawks fans, a lot of people saying, nah, it's going to be the Pelicans. You got people saying the next one's up. That might be my boy Pete. I hope you're right. But the reason why I think I'm right in the way that, I do think that this team is going to be the next dynasty, or at least close to it, maybe not the next dynasty, but at least a team that can compete for a championship. And you're seeing that they're able to do it. I want to watch a little bit of the highlights today, because I want to show you guys kind of the way that that the Hawks are playing and what they're doing. I mean, the Hawks are doing nothing special on offense in terms of what they haven't veered away from. Again, a lot of pick and roll with Trae Young, and you see here that Brook Lopez is really staying low on these ball screens. I mean, let's look at this again. Brook Lopez is really staying low, and they're really trying to deter Trae Young from, kind of making those plays. They're trying to see if they can stop him. But the thing with Trae Young is that he is able to just contort his body, change his way, and you see like the high pick and roll. And if I was Brook Lopez, I know I would probably stay a little bit more up. I would honestly be okay with Clint Capella, beating me on these easy assists. But Trae Young obviously finding passes. Team won. No, they lost by 7, I think. I'm not sure how much we lost by, but I know we lost today. But you're kind of seeing here that Trae Young is more than just a scorer. I know a lot of people want to call him the next Steph Curry. I said in a video that he could be better than Steph Curry. And I still think that can be true, because the way that he plays the game, the way that he's not so, shooting oriented, he's more passing oriented when it comes to Trae Young. I know a lot of people kind of want to compare the two, but Trae Young is a different type of caliber player because of his passing ability. His passing ability makes him very unique from a lot of players. You see that the Hawks like to run a lot of pick and rolls, whether it's on a double pick and roll, kind of setting a two-man screen, or whether it is just kind of high pick and roll with Clint Capella. And you see the drop coverage that he has a lot of respect because of the way that the drop coverage is in terms of like how the teams drop on Trae Young. They don't stay up on him. They're like, oh, we're just gonna we're going to high hedge it, or we're going to, stay a little bit higher, so he has to make that pass. Like, his passing ability is so good that he's able to make those type of passes, but his floater is so elite, and that's one thing that I hope a lot of guys take away from this, is that you need to work on your floater game if you are a player still playing. or even people that watch this in the future, work on your floaters. Like, they are going to be huge when it comes to making, being basically a triple threat in a way that he is shooting, able to score it, able to float it, or, pass it up. And again, we can also talk about the way that the Bucks capitulated this game. Again, a lot of great passing from the Bucks. The Bucks, to me, just kind of got, I'm trying to think what it is. They always do this to themselves where they always get in a situation where they have the lead, they're ready to go, and then all of a sudden they just, for whatever reason, they just capitulate and don't finish the game. And it's a frustrating thing to watch because I think this Bucks team is actually really talented, but I like this Hawks team a little bit more. And again, Giannis is going to Giannis. He's going to finish around the rim. He's going to be a straight line driver, and that's just what you're going to get with him. But again, we can kind of watch here. Giannis going off. And really, this was a close game throughout the whole series. And again, Kevin Huerter doing the same thing, being an asset. And you can see here that he's playing a lot better these last couple. He's kind of made his name now. Before it was kind of like, well, potential. It was always, I think me and my boy Josh would always talk about this, or at least I would. I know that I think Josh's a little bit higher on Kevin Huerter than I was, but, to him, it was always about potential. Can Kevin Huerter get to this potential? Can he always, can he get to that Klay Thompson? Because, obviously, like I said, I called him the Warriors of the East, back in my early YouTube days. And, it's somewhat true. I think Kevin Huerter is a little not as a good shooter as Klay Thompson, but you can see that he's very effective scoring-wise. And, he doesn't need that many shots to be effective. I mean, tonight, 5 of 12, not the best, but 1 of 6, but he's still able to get 13 points, Still able to affect the games in many ways and still had a plus 15 out there on the court. And you can see the impact that he has out there. And again, John Collins with a plus 12. You can see his impact in the way that he's able to kind of carry himself on the floor out there. And then meanwhile, you got the other team with the Bucks. It's just like, PJ Tucker, the guy that was brought in to shoot the threes, isn't really doing that this series. Giannis went off for 34. Middleton only had 15, and that is disappointing. For a guy that's supposed to be your second best player, you just don't want him to disappear again. Even though Drew Holiday came in after an abysmal Game 7. He came up clutch in Game 7, but still had an abysmal game overall. Came out swinging in this game, but then, his other teammate, Chris Middleton, just couldn't do it as the second guy. And Brook Lopez was just kind of Brook Lopezing this game. It just wasn't very effective. Yeah, we can look here. High pick and roll with John Collins. Again, you see the high pick and roll and the way that's effective. I mean, look at the way that Bobby Portis, again, the key of the game that you're going to see here is the drop coverage of Bobby Portis. I just think that this is a mistake. I know that Bobby Portis is not the most athletic guy, but honestly, they got to do something about this high pick and roll stuff because they are absolutely killing him. I mean, the thing is, the Hawks have been doing this all season. It's not like this is something new. This isn't something that they just added. They've been doing this the whole time. Again, we'll watch. Again, great plays all around. Again, Bobby Portis coming in there with a nice slamma-jamma. They're coming, and the thing that's different about this is that they decided, again, pick and roll. This time they're going to try and do some sort of trapping. Travis Holden, Trae Young is now. I said this, and I know that I hate tuning my own horn because I don't want to be like a braggadocious type of guy. But I think a lot of people miss the mark on Trae Young. I really do. For a guy that came out of Oklahoma, had the star, the star power, I would say, just of a guy that came from Oklahoma. I know a lot of people are Sooner fans. Guys like Skip Bayless, a big, I would say, I'm trying to think of Skip Bayless, not really a big fan of his, but, wasn't a big fan of Trae Young, and I just couldn't understand why. A guy that, has about 10 assists a game, a guy that can really pass the rock and really dish it. I mean, there's some passes that Trae Young makes that not a lot of point guards can make in the league, and you can see the reason why the Hawks are succeeding so well under Nate McMillan. You're seeing the tenacity. You're seeing the ability of a guy like Trae Young to be able to create not only opportunities for himself. Yes, he had 48 tonight. It was tremendous. It was stupendous. But you see the ability that he has to really get other people involved. I mean, tonight I don't think he had as many assists as I would like. He had about if I can remember and recall, he had set, about 11 assists. I like my guys to, probably could add 12, 14, but still, 11 assists to combine with the 48 points is tremendous. Yeah, he shot 34 times, but it's just kind of one of those things. And Travis Holden, how you doing, man? You said John Collins always comes in clutch when they need. John Collins, another great player, another example of a guy that a lot of people were like, a guy from Wake Forest. What's his game really? And as the guy that's really a pogo stick, kind of high flyer, high finisher. I mean, that's the type of guy you need. Travis, I'm tired of people saying Luka is better. Luka doesn't even want to stay with his team. Trae Young is the staple of our city. He fits in well with our culture and loves it here. I think, and Travis, I said this back in, 2019 or whenever that draft was. I said that Trae Young was a better fit for Atlanta than I think Luka would have been, because I feel like Trae understands the culture of Atlanta Hawks basketball. Like the way that they play, the way that they are, they're a young up and coming team that, a lot of people kind of put down on because they're like, well, it's Atlanta, they're always the punching bag for all these jokes, right? We talked about the Patriots and the Atlanta Falcons, right? That was the punching joke there, the 28-3 lead. And I think that's kind of the city of Atlanta itself doesn't have a great, I would say, tradition in terms of the professional sports of being, championship driven or to try and, strive for these championships. But I think with the way that this team is constructed, with getting the former, guy from the Golden State Warriors to come in and construct this team and to help it build to the way that it is, you can see the difference that this Atlanta Hawks team is than it was a couple years back, with guys like Kyle Korver and Jeff Teague and Paul Millsap, when they had 4 All-Stars. You can see the difference between that team and this team. This team has a defiant star, and Trae Young fits it to a T. And it's the reason why I don't understand why a lot of people were like, well, that was dumb of the Hawks to trade Luka Doncic for Trae Young. Like, yes, I'm a huge Luka Doncic fan. A Luka Doncic stan. But I tremendously thought that Trae Young was going to be just as equally as good as Luka Doncic in their own respective way, right? Luka's going to be more of the point guard, always have the ball in his hand, always have to make the shot, always have to create the offense for himself that then creates for others. Where I feel like Trae Young creates the offense for others and does it a tremendous amount of time. You can see the leadership that he has out there. I know that we kind of went into him about sort of the kind of issues with Lloyd Pierce and also with John Collins at the beginning of the season, talking about, playing time and all that stuff. But I think Trae Young handled that adversity really well and didn't make a big fuss about it. I didn't hear Trae Young ever be out in the media kind of cussing at Lloyd Pierce or saying, John Collins needs to learn how to be a role player and know his role. Like, he never said that at all. And you can see that because he does that, because of his leadership, because he's so gifted and skilled, he's honestly should have been an all-star this year. And I will hold this to the grave to this day that he should have been an all-star this year. I know a lot of people in the NBA, whether it's the media, whether it's the current players, they don't like the play style. They don't like the way that he draws fouls. But obviously that's going to change now, right? It's going to be a different rule now. The flopping rule is going to be taken into effect. But what I will say about this sort of situation that I'm seeing here is that Trae Young is a leader that every team needs. And you could see the way that he's able to kind of carry his team to victory, carry his team to the way that, it should have been. With the way that, the Hawks for many years have been the punching bag and the jokes. Travis had just talked about it with you. It's like, they've always been the punching bag for a lot of jokes, right? Oh, Trae Young, it's like he's just this guy, right? Or, it's just one of those like, oh, well, Trae Young, we don't get it, man. And I will still say to this day, I really think that he should have been an all-star this year. And it sucks to see that that sometimes you have media or you have people in high places kind of trying to gatekeep guys like Trae Young for guys like Ben Simmons or Jimmy Butler, even for an All-NBA team. Like, that to me is just kind of like, look, at the end of the day, you have to see who the best player is, and I don't care whether you have grief with him or whether you're pissed off at him or whatever it is with the media. You just have to be objective about it, and it's just hard to be objective because we know that everyone has their bias. Like, I have my bias. Travis, you have your bias. Alex, you have your bias. Gabby, you have your bias. Justin, you have your bias, and whoever else is watching the stream, we all have our biases. But that can't take away from the way that the Bucks played, or sorry, that the Hawks played tonight. Travis, he said, definitely got snubbed as an all-star. I think people don't understand that it's not only our play, but it's a team swag and confidence. I haven't seen this much swagger in Atlanta in years. And you're right, Travis. I mean, I'm assuming you are a big Atlanta fan. I'm assuming like all sports. But with the way that the Migos are out there, celebrating a guy like Trae Young, with the way that Trae Young embraces the Atlanta culture, embraces Georgia, what team you see thrown, and that is tremendously right. You're seeing some flair, some tenacity from a team in Atlanta that we don't really get from the Bucks or even the Suns, which I love the Suns. The Phoenix Suns are a really great, well coached basketball team. Clippers, I don't really see that much swagger in them, but you don't really get that much confidence in a while, and you're seeing what Trae Young's able to do out here, man. It's awesome to know that Trae Young is really proving a lot of people wrong today and just this year in general. The second half of the season, once Lloyd Pierce got fired, unfortunately, Lloyd Pierce got fired. I still think he's a good coach, but is he the best coach? I'm not so sure. I like the guy, but his head coach's role. I was kind of mad at Trae Young. I'll keep it real with you, Travis. I was a little bit mad at Trae Young because I thought, he could have helped Lloyd Pierce out a little bit, but at the end of the day, if it's not a fit, it's not a fit, and that's something that I have to realize is that, yes, am I upset that Lloyd Pierce didn't work? Yeah, but I also have to understand that maybe it's not. I'm a Hawks bro, and Kia 6-man selection, huh? Oh shoot. Okay, so you're a big Atlanta Hawks fan. Okay, that's awesome, man. Uh, That's great. Do you plan on going to any of the games? And do you have season like? Are you a season ticket holder? Like, do you go to the playoff games too, or is it just right now strictly just regular season for you? Um, but kind of going back to my debate at hand here, I think a lot of people were wrong on Trae Young. I think people kind of saw him as this like flopper, always get someone behind his back, wait, hesitate. As soon as the guy gets a little bit of a nudge, then he shoots it, and it's like, oh, it's a foul. Where I think it's smart basketball. Yeah, is it annoying? Yeah, but at the end of the day, you got to be able to stop it. And even if they are able to stop it, the fact that Trae Young has the ability to be like, all right, we're going to go high pick and roll, has the ability to get out of that pick and roll situation and not only make passes to the rolling guy, but also makes passes to the corners and guys that are open in the wing, guys that are ready to shoot, catch and shoot. Guys are ready to play for the Atlanta Hawks. And the thing is that the Atlanta Hawks didn't really shoot that well today. Both teams didn't shoot that well from three today. Both these teams are tired. But what makes the Atlanta Hawks different is that they're able to convert their free throws and able to get to the line very often. I mean, we also talk about the rebounding thing. Giannis and Brook Lopez. Brook Lopez was disappointing in that aspect because he really should have more rebounds. They got out rebounded 51-45. You also had talk about the steals. Even in that aspect, and turnovers. This really should have been a game that the Bucks should have won. I've been to every game. So you went to tonight's game, Travis, or did you? Or are you going to the next game? But I was kind of disappointed in the way that the fact of really, I think the Hawks really really the Bucks, beat themselves again. I'm mad at that aspect because I think the Bucks are, they're a good team, but like I said, when it comes to guys like Trae Young and John Collins, I think they were so wrong on Trae Young. A lot of people were saying that he is a Steph Curry clone, he's a Steph Curry wannabe, but really, that's not even his game. Oh, okay, I got you. Damn, that sucks, man. I'm sorry that happened to you, man. I mean, I'm glad that at least listening. I don't know if you listen to the radio, if you listen to the TNT broadcast, preferably not the TNT broadcast because they're kind of a little suspect. But I'm glad that you're able to hear it. Nobody want to go to Wisconsin. It's weird because my friend's a Hawks fan, but he's also a Wisconsin Badger fan. So it's kind of like an interesting dynamic there. But that sucks, man. I'm sorry to hear that you had to deal with that. Oh, tennis accident. Oh crap. Oh, was it a serve or what was it? Oh, one eye. Okay, so you can see out of the other eye. Okay, so you're just wearing. I'm assuming you're wearing like an eye patch or something, looking like Captain Barbosa out here. But as I kind of talk to my guy Travis out here, still got my right eye. Hey, there you go, man. As long as you got one, right? Um, but I want to like the reason why I just want to keep hammering the point of Trae Young is because look, he doesn't have to be Steph Curry. He doesn't have to be this, running off the screens and I'm going to shoot like this. Like that's never been his game. Like Trae Young is a very traditional point guard in the sense that he will always come off the pick and roll. He was always attack off the drive, and you can see it from the highlights that we are watching right now. Like you see here as we kind of watch Drew Holiday dunk all over Solomon Hill, or actually Gallinari. Even Lou Will, Lemon Pepper Will. That was a great trade by the Atlanta Hawks. I know that they will not be regretting that trade at all. Gallinari is very hit and miss with me. Like some games, I'm like, that guy is so elite, and then there's other games where I'm like, wow, he just can't do it anymore. So it's kind of an interesting dynamic for me, at least, when it comes to a guy like. And I only want to bring this up is because this is kind of I would say, the frustrating thing here is that I understand, you want to go one-on-one so you don't give away the drive, but I think Giannis is so drive heavy that to me, like here in this situation, not here, because that was a great backdoor pass to Middleton here, but more so this drive, I understand Trae Young is not going to be the best defensive stopper in the world, but at least, I want Trae Young to at least dig in a little bit more because I know with a guy like with Trae Young a guy with Giannis, he's just going to be a straight line driver. He's always going to, attack the lane and, try and draw the foul there. But, again, not bad defense by Capella. It's just kind of like, I wish Trae Young would do it here. Again, a prime example from Trae Young, high pick and roll, nothing too crazy, no intricate offense needed for this type of situation right here. My problem here is with Brook Lopez. I understand he's not as mobile as he once was, but they're going to have to sub out Brook Lopez because he didn't really give you much today. Maybe play Bobby Portis, but I just don't like the fact that Brook Lopez is sitting so deep when, it gives Trae Young a full head of steam. Because I don't know if they're trying to ice the ball screen or just they're trying to reject it. I mean, it's just kind of like, for number 5, I'm not sure what number 5's name is. Let me make sure I get his name right for the. I want to say is it Forbes? No, Forbes is 7. Who was number 5 on this team? Is it Jeff Teague? Jeff Teague. Okay, let me get back to this video. To me, it's like Jeff Teague. You either got to. I mean, I understand that Trae Young will always be a threat from up top, but I honestly would take the risk of him shooting it from up there. I know that I'm a huge Trae Young stan, but I would honestly take the risk of him shooting it from the logo, because at the end of the day, it's just. That's a pick of the section we wild. Again, you give Trae Young a full head of steam. You give Trae Young a full head of steam, and he's able to make these floaters. I mean, that's the reason why he's so lethal when it comes to here. Again, another high pick and roll. Now he goes under, and again, it's kind of like you live and choose. You kind of, I would say, you pick and choose your battles with Trae Young, and I just think that to me, I honestly would pick the the battle of him shooting those deep threes. I understand that he is a very talented shooter, but I don't know what the Bucks are thinking. Maybe I'm wrong on that situation. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think for a guy, shot 4 of 13, wasn't tremendously a great shooting night for him from 3-point land, but still, to me, it's like, why not? Why not just take the pick and roll and just go under and see what he does there? I mean, I understand he made the 3 there again. Another pick and roll scenario, going under the screen, or at least try to. I mean, again, at that point, you're that high, you might as well just commit to going over. Because Trae Young's going to hit that. It's just going to be game over. So you need to decide. Again, another double ball screen here. Great dump off to Capella here. Again, go up in the air, try to shoot that floater. Brook Lopez has seen it 1,000 times. And then all of a sudden, boom, hit Capella for a nice, easy dunk. And, you got Chris Middleton trying to cheat in there, trying to get it. Giannis, dirty player? And I don't think he's a dirty player. I mean, what makes him dirty, Travis, to you? Because I don't really think he's dirty. It's just more so I don't think he hasn't, he's still, to me, Giannis even at this age is still very raw. It sucks that he got into basketball so late in his career or so late in his life, because I think if he would have had a tremendous coach or no, I don't think, I don't think he ruined Kyrie's season. I think that was an unfortunate accident, what happened. I mean, obviously, it is what it is. It's not like a Bill Laimbeer moment where Giannis is putting his foot out. Giannis just got big shoes, man. It's just the same thing with KD with that 3-pointer. He's just got big shoes. So I think it's just the unfortunate thing of, the way it is. But to kind of go back to my point here of, what was I going with here? Of Trae, I mean, this to me is just such an easy pass, man. This is the reason why I think Trae Young is so underrated, and why guys like Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharps and Stephen A's and the Max Kellermans of the world, especially the Max and Stephen A's. They're watching basketball, but they're watching it for more so the entertainment shock value. Whereas you kind of see here where we look at the way that this plays, Stephen A. and Max Kellerman will tell you, oh yeah, Trae Young likes the high pick and rolls, and you can see when they run the high pick and rolls that Trae Young is so gifted with his floaters that it's easy for him to just shoot the floater, or if they're going to go under, he just shoots the jump shot. And if they're going to try and come after him, as soon as he goes to a floater, and you have Clint Capella rolling to the basket, nice little dump off, boom. That's an easy 2 points there. And I just don't think people are going to tell you that. I don't think people are going to tell you that unless you watch B-Ball Breakdown or Half Court Hoops. 2 tremendous YouTube channels if you guys want more basketball analysis and kind of how the Hawks or how the players are so successful. But again, Travis, to kind of go to your point, I don't think he ruined Kyrie's season. I think the Nets, and maybe we'll talk about it after I talk about this highlights and kind of watching a little bit more. I honestly think the Nets were victims of their own kind of shortcomings from the beginning of the season. And I can tell you what that is as soon as we're done talking about the Hawks and the Bucks right now, because I think the Nets wrongdoing in that series against the Bucks was a lot more to do with personnel than I think a lot of people have realized, and we'll kind of go over it in a second. Again, Chris Middleton struggled tonight. Didn't really play very well today, and I know Stephen A is going to be like, "Oh, we got to blast those supporting role players," but love how Giannis hit Trae Young in the face while shooting a 3-pointer and gave. Yeah, what did I do, face? I mean, that's everybody though, Travis. I mean, and I think a lot of players, and I'm not Travis. I'm not sure if you're a basketball. I don't know if you play basketball pickup or not. I'm not sure if you're a basketball. I don't know if you play pickup or not. But when someone calls a foul and you just kind of maybe barely swipe, you're like, that's a foul, or it's like, I didn't do anything. It's kind of one of those things. I just think players are just kind of they don't want to get a foul because obviously it leads to an and one or leads to a shooting foul and they're shooting free throws. Again, we'll kind of continue watching here. Giannis, great pass to Drew Holiday. Drew Holiday went off today after getting called out in Game 7, so he definitely stepped up in a major way. This to me, this is just too nasty. Boom, got him on the move. Boom, got him leaning, step back, shoot the three, created that space, and that's an open shot in the NBA. And again, I know that I'm 6'7" my whole life. I just hate the Bucks. Hey man, I don't blame you, man. When it's your favorite team, I'm a Boston Celtics fan, but I do appreciate the Atlanta Hawks. I know that I think we're conference rivals, right? Um, but I admire the Hawks. I mean, they to me are a team that just has great. I would say I know it's not a fan base that's very strong because I know it's very swayed. Maybe Lakers or another team, but I love watching the Hawks, man. They're a great, fun team to watch. I bought League Pass this year for the first time, and I would always have Hawks games on because I think they were just that fun to watch. And you could see like with the way that they're doing things and the way that they have really changed the culture. And the reason why I wanted to kind of rewind that is because look at this pass that Trae Young makes right here. Never in a million years would a Steph Curry make that pass. I mean, he can make that pass, but with the precision and accuracy, I know that it was a little off per se, but no one else makes that pass besides Trae Young. Maybe Rajon Rondo, but just imagine like Rajon Rondo. Like I'm not trying to compare the two, but like if Rajon Rondo was able to shoot the ball even a lick, like the way that Trae Young can, I think you'd have a different player. But Trae Young is going to show everybody why they were so wrong in that draft. And I know I keep repeating myself each and every time I talk about it, but I think I think he proved everybody wrong that was kind of grading it and saying like, oh well, it's the Hawks. Trae Young, is he really that guy? Like, are people asking, is he really going to be somebody in this league? This game should tell you everything you need to know. Oh, Supreme Gamer, what's up, man? I haven't talked to you in a minute. How you doing, man? Hey, that was a great sequence right there. Again, another play, high pick and roll. Brooke Lopez kind of like waddling back there, trying to be like, okay, I got to stay in front of Trae Young. I got to stay in front of Trae Young. And then boom. Gets Clint Capella. Should be an and one, to be honest with you. But, like, Trae Young is that guy. Thank you, Supreme Gamer. Let me, I'm gonna shoot this. I'm gonna take a snapshot of what you just said and send it to my guy, Sean. For you, Sean. My friend Sean's a huge like that guy type of that trust me, you ain't that guy, pal. Like that, he's he's big into that joke. But anyway, um, again, tremendous play. Bogey didn't really play the best game, I would say. I still think he's limping a little bit. But again, Trae Young to John Collins, and I think John Collins is kind of suited into the role that he's supposed to be in, right? The role of I'm going to be a great I'm going to be a great teammate. After calling out Trae Young, it's like, okay, maybe I was wrong in that situation, but really being in that role of, okay, I'm going to be a great teammate, but I'm also going to be a huge role player, be a pick and roll finisher, be a 3-point shooter. I think John Collins has definitely earned the right to a max deal, whether that's in Atlanta or whether that's in another team. I think that's yet to be determined, but you can see the the way that the Hawks play, man. It's fun to watch, man. I know that I keep talking about these high pick and rolls and talking about like, oh, what they can do there. Again, great up and under by Kevin Herter, Mr. New York basketball himself. I didn't realize that he was Mr. Basketball in New York, so that's awesome to hear. Again, John Collins, came up with 15 boards today. That goes to show you that, this team is well put together. And the guy that was, I think it's Slinky. He really puts together. Shout out to MLG Highlights for the video, of course. I don't want to, discredit or not credit anybody with the video. MLG Highlights, shout out to him for the video, him or her for the video. Again, there. Travis Holden, you talked about it, man. This is the highlight you're talking about. Unfortunately, that won't count as an assist because the NBA is goofy like that. But look at what point guard or what team would think that, okay, I'm going to throw it off the backboard for an alley-oop? I just can't. I can't even with that play. It's just one of those things. You look at it, you see it. I just think John Collins is a tremendous basketball player, and really just reads the floor well. And Trae Young, again, just on a different level, man. Over Brook Lopez, too. And Bobby Portis with the net. Look at Bobby Portis' face. I wish I could zoom in on the face. But look at his face right here. He's like, damn, we really got schooled there. And Brook Lopez just taking it. Again, high pick and roll, whether it's John Collins or Clint Capella, floater alert. I think you have to take a step more in. I mean, I feel like you just at least got to be like Danilo, like at least be in this position. I don't care if you're going to be like, I don't care if you're going to do the sag off, but at least be sagged off here. Don't be sagged off so far. And there, it's just like everyone just quit on that play. Give him the little shimmy-yay, shimmy-yaw, finishing that. And again, PJ Tucker with a great hustle play. I've been a little disappointed with PJ Tucker. I thought he would be kind of like the PJ Tucker that you get in Houston, but he just hasn't really been shooting that three. Okay. I totally forgot about this play. What other player that has John Collins size jumps like him? Seriously, look at the poster on Embiid last series. His whole head was above the rim. John Collins up is second to none at his, and that's kind of what separates him from a lot of guys in his class or even just in his position in general. Like the ability to have the hops, the ability to jump like that, and it really, it not only gives him offense but also gives him defense as well. He's not the best defensive player, but he at least has the ability to be defensively capable of, if he does have to get switched on to somebody or if he does switch on to a guard, he's able to jump like a pogo stick and just block shots. Again, this to me is sauce. Absolutely sauce PJ Tucker by Danilo Gallinari. It's 2021 and Danilo Gallinari is saucing PJ Tucker. They got a nice Solomon Hill drive there. Again, you kind of saw the way that the game was going back and forth. Again, Giannis... that might have been a little bit of a travel there. Let's see here. Oh, that's a travel. Good backdoor. Just, Giannis is just that dude, man. Or Giannis is just that big, so it's going to be hard to score on him like that. Again, just watching a little bit more highlights. Good pace. I think Capella is so criminally underrated for this Hawks team, man. I think the way that Capella plays for you guys is honestly just, it makes me question why the Rockets got rid of him. I really question it to this day why the Rockets got rid of him, man. Like, think about the ability that he has to be able to. It frustrates me because I think Clint Capella, has been passed around, a couple times. I think he's only been passed around twice, but drafted by the Rockets. But you can see his impact, and to me, it's like, why did the Rockets get rid of him for that one year where they went small ball and just shot threes? I know it almost worked because they went to a game 7, but to me, it's like, Why you got rid of Clint Capella, I will never know, but I'm sure that the Atlanta Hawks are generously happy that you guys got rid of him, or that the Rockets got rid of him, so the Hawks can appreciate what he does for the team. And again, this was kind of the point where I was like, okay, maybe the Bucks have it. Just hasn't been like a good shooting night for Atlanta at this point. Shooting pretty decently, but it just couldn't make the baskets. And then all of a sudden, it's this type of game, and then it's like, damn, a game that probably the Hawks could have won if they were able to do it. Again, great putback slam by John Collins there, and like you said, probably goes underrated in that series, or it goes underrated in that situation again. And one by Trae Young. Trae Young gets sent to the cleaners there. I think he actually got fouled there, not by Connaughton, but by Middleton in that series, in that part. Again, you look at here, Jrue Holiday's had kind of the hot hand, and then Giannis for the finish, and you're like, okay, maybe the Bucks have this under control. And then all of a sudden, here come the Atlanta Hawks with, John Collins hitting a huge three. Again, John Collins has improved so damn much from his rookie year that it's insane that now he's able to hit those corner threes. I think it kind of reminds me of like when Chris Bosh kind of expanded his game to 3-point range. That to me is like John Collins right now. It's just like you can see guys who have worked in the offseason to get that jumper right. That is a guy out there that will work on his jumper, work his butt off to make sure that his jumper is ready. So when they need that pass, when that pass comes to happen, right, it's there. And again, Clint Capella with a great finish, up by one. And again, that kind of just seals the deal for the Atlanta Hawks at this point. You get Giannis at the free throw line. Hits 2 of 2. I mean, he did everything he could in that one, and then just that was kind of all she wrote at that point. And so, to me, when it comes down to when we rewatch the highlights and we kind of look at everything, it's just kind of one of those things you look at it and you're just like, this Hawks team has the components to be a championship contending team. And I said it in my video back in the day as to kind of why this NBA team is going to be the new dynasty of the NBA. Maybe I was a little bit hyperbolic with saying it was a dynasty, but you could see why this team was going to be a very intriguing team with the way that they are. I kind of said it here in the comments. It's like I dubbed this team Warriors of the East as the Atlanta Hawks seem to have the pieces to become a championship level team. The question for the Hawks is, do they have the pieces to grow under Coach Lloyd Pierce? And we obviously know the answer to that question, that it was no. Not under Lloyd Pierce, but under Nate McMillan, a former Sonic. Obviously, I'm from the Seattle area. Former Sonic. It was great to talk about him in that aspect. It's just great to see that Nate McMillan's succeeding in there. And it just kind of makes you question, why did the Pacers get rid of him? And that's the thing, Travis, if you had DeAndre Hunter and a healthy Cam Reddish, you guys would be looking really nice. And even without them, I still think you looked really nice. I mean, you're going to be facing a tough Sun. I think the Suns are going to go to the finals, in my opinion. I think it might be Suns-Hawks. I think that's what I had as kind of like my finals dream scenario. You can see why the Hawks have such a great team. Even, I think the Hunter was drafted at this point. You can see why I talked about them so highly. And it's because we talked about them each and every time. It's just kind of one of those things. You see guys like John Collins. I think this is. And in that point, I was talking about John Collins in that scenario. And it's just like, John Collins has tremendous growth to improve. And you can see the way that the scenario is for the Atlanta Hawks. We honestly are looking at a great, great team. And the question now is going to be, can they now do it and win 4 games in this series? It's going to be tough. It's going to be hard. But I have no doubt that the Atlanta Hawks are a team that, one, people are going to stop, underrating them, or are going to stop kind of laughing about them. I know Ben Simmons kind of laughed about it. Oh, hey, you got time for one more? They're like, oh, you're playing the Hawks? Oh, you got time for one more. You're gonna stop hearing the jokes about the Atlanta Hawks because the Atlanta Hawks are for real. They're serious. And as you can tell from my former background, they're up there as one of the teams on my walls, and they're up there for a reason. They're up there for a reason, man. And I think that a lot of people are going to get to that scenario of now the Hawks are for real. They have a great young core piece, and all their players are still on very nice contracts. They're not on these like supermax deals yet. And so you really need that and a combination of young players kind of growing at the right time to really become the NBA super team. But that is kind of it for the Atlanta Hawks section. Again, just want to talk about it and reiterate the Hawks, Trae Young, a team that is not to be messed around with, a team that is not to be looked down upon, but a team to really be celebrated and to really be scared of because of the way that they play together and the way that all their role players and pieces work together. 19 rebounds for Clint Capella, 12 points. 15 rebounds for John Collins, 23 points. And you're seeing here that, yes, John Collins isn't going to be the best three-point shooter, but he's going to shoot enough to get you into a game. And again, the Hawks win it 116-113 against the Milwaukee Bucks. And to kind of go on a little brief kind of 10-minute talk, I will say that the disappointing thing about the Brooklyn Nets this series, or the reason why I think the Brooklyn Nets lost against the Milwaukee Bucks, is because of rebounding. I talked about this at the beginning of the year when they got rid of all their pieces. They got rid of Jared Allen. They got rid of Caris LeVert, to get a guy in James Harden, which, again, nothing wrong with. But you're relying on, I believe his name is Claxton, if I'm not mistaken. Let me go back to this 22nd, or maybe... and really just to go to the roster and really look at, kind of the bigs here. Nicholas Claxton, that's the guy. Didn't really play him as much, didn't really use him as well. And you really look at and see like the difference between, rebounding wise, the fact that they, the Hawks, or sorry, the Nets were out rebounded by the Bucks this whole series. And you can see why, because no one's, it's just kind of Dirty Red is going to go off for game 2. Mark Roberts, he will make a name for himself Friday. Okay, Travis. I like it. You call him Dirty. What's the like? You're from Atlanta. What's the official nickname for Kevin Huerter? Is it Red Velvet? Like, do you guys call him Red Velvet, or is it? I see that you call him Dirty Red. But what's the official nickname for Kevin Huerter? I always wonder this because it's like, Kevin Huerter is a very interesting basketball player just because, he just seems like, kind of a dorky. Like, he seems a little dorky, but he's like really, really good at basketball. So, what's kind of the nickname that you guys give him around there? But to kind of go on my Brooklyn Nets rant here, they just got out rebounded by the Bucks, man. It's frustrating because this team has to be historically great in order to really make a really big push. Like, they had to be historically great, I feel like, to win the championship, where I feel like the other teams don't have to be because they're able to get the rebounding and they're able to, get the stops when they need to. Where I feel like as the Nets, the reason why they couldn't get the stops is because they couldn't get the rebounding. And, DeAndre Jordan he didn't really, I don't even think he played that much. ESPN is Red Velvet. Kept on with his teammates. We like Dirty Red. Okay. Kevon Huerter. But DeAndre Jordan didn't really play that much in these last series. I mean, he posted bagels in his last. I believe he posted bagels in the playoffs. He didn't really play that much postseason. Didn't record a single minute, and it just kind of goes to show that he has kind of aged not as well. And that's the unfortunate thing about a guy like DeAndre Jordan is that he hasn't really aged well. And you can see that he hasn't really aged well because of the way that his stats have been and the way that 7.5, 7.5 rebounds really didn't do much in the regular season. Even he averaged 7.5 points, but just wasn't available. I don't know what Steve Nash's thinking was. Like I would love to kind of get my deeper kind of analysis on DeAndre Jordan, why he didn't really pan out. For the playoffs, at least, you're relying on guys like Claxton. You relied on a guy like Brown. Brown's a great player and all, but you still needed that rebounding. So I refuse to another man Red Velvet. I mean, now that I know that it's Kevon, Kavon Herter or Dirty Red. I kind of like that a lot better than Red Velvet. Red, yeah, I agree with Shaq. It's like, do I really want to call another person Red Velvet? You know, I'm not really sure about that, but it is a tremendous thing. And to kind of end it, because I know this is more of a Hawks video than so more of a Brooklyn Nets. Maybe I'll talk about it on a different time. But the fact that he relied on Bruce Brown, Kevin Durant, Blake Griffin, James Harden, Joe Harris, and Kyrie Irving, a very small lineup. To me, it's just like you were always going to get pounded on the rebounds on the boards because like none of your guys can rebound, and that's the unfortunate thing about this Hawks team. Or sorry, Hawks. We're talking about the Hawks. The unfortunate thing about the Brooklyn Nets team, maybe fortunate for a lot of other guys, but I really think that the Hawks could have won against this team easily because I think their rebounding is so much better, and they actually had very competitive games in the regular season. So it'll be interesting to see how the Brooklyn Nets ramp up for next year and what they're going to do to get into the playoffs and what they're going to do to really change things. They're going to have to trade some pieces away. I think Blake Griffin is going to probably ask for a little bit of a salary. I'm not sure where though. DeAndre Jordan getting a $10 million. They're probably going to see if they can move that. But at the end of the day, we'll see what happens. But I do want to say thank you to all the people that were here today. Travis, thank you so much for kind of coming in the chat, making it lively. Appreciate that. Appreciate you, Supreme Gamer, for checking in. Justin, Gabby, whoever else is going to watch the stream later on. Alex, also shout out to you for coming to the stream. I just want to say thanks again for coming here. Really, discussing basketball. This is my number one love, basketball, and I love talking about it. I really love talking about teams that I'm really excited about their futures. And you can tell I'm excited about the Hawks' future. I mean, I have so many videos on the charge, and I can pull up another one that I love. Another one that I had here. Let me see if I can find it. Let me see if I can find it. I know I have it here on my YouTube. Number one fan here. Nice live stream. I appreciate you, Don. Hey, no problem, man. I hope you enjoy the rest of your night. Celebrating this Hawks win. Do it responsibly. But the only reason why I kind of want to shout out another video here is because let's see here. Is Trae Young? I have a lot of Trae Young. Show all. And this is the video that I had right here, and we can kind of talk about it a little bit later. But I had this video here, an OG video of mine, which is called "Why Trae Young Will Be Better Than Steph Curry." And the reason why I talked about it is because, like I said, I really do believe in Trae Young's ability to play the game. This is when Ben Simmons was attacking. We'll talk about Ben Simmons maybe a little bit later this week and talk about the one thing I will say, because I know all I'm saying is that the story of no LeBron, no KD, no Steph, Hawks going to win the chip and taking it. Definitely can be a possibility. I hope it is, because I think the city of Atlanta deserves it, and it'll be fun to kind of watch that that team grow and develop. But the reason why, we'll talk about the Ben Simmons stuff, but the reason why I kind of want to talk about the Ben Simmons stuff is because I've been critical of Ben Simmons in the past. I talked about it earlier in the live stream. I'll talk about it now before we sign out of here and kind of call it a night. But the reason why I was kind of hard on him is because I know what he's capable of. I know he's much better than what he's shown. And maybe I have to lower my expectations of Ben Simmons at this point. Me and my boy Pete, we talked about it. We've gone back and forth. And I've talked about it before. I just think, he's more interested in other outside of basketball activities, and that's fine. It is what it is. You're allowed to do that. It's not like, oh, you're only supposed to be basketball players. But I don't know. We'll talk about that another stream, because I know Travis, you're probably loving that he gave up that wide open dunk. But we'll talk about that a little bit later this week, because I know that that's probably going to be a big talking point. I really want to really emphasize and really hone in on that. So be prepared, stay tuned as we talk about it. But I appreciate each and every one of you for here to tune in on the Charge, give you the latest NBA news and rumors, and also basketball analysis as we go over the Hawks offense and what they were able to do. Appreciate each and every one of you. Please remember to hit that like button. Also remember to hit that subscribe button if you're new to the channel. Remember, the more likes, the more subscribe, the more people are going to be tuning in. And again, guys, if you are so inclined to donate, you can donate. If not, we have merch as well if you support the stream heavy. Again, we have so many things. We have shirts, we have mugs, and again, we also have a donation link as well. If you guys are interested in donating, that's up to you guys. I don't want to put any pressure on you guys, but thank you once again for joining me here on The Charge, giving the latest NBA news and rumors and also basketball opinions. Please remember to hit that like, share, and subscribe button and let other people know about the channel, and we'll catch you guys on the next video. Everybody stay safe, stay warm.